Okay, we are rapidly running out of sunlight here, so bear with me. Today is the 31st of December 2025, and with this time of year naturally comes a lot of reflection. And one of those things that I've been reflecting on is my goals that I'd set for myself this year. Now, I'm not usually that strict with setting goals. However, I do tend to write down some little bits and bobs in my notes app. Do I usually reflect back on them? Not really, to be quite honest with you. I do tend to find they get lost in the abyss. I do also find the idea of putting goals, intentions, aspirations onto social media where things really do live forever quite scary, because it means that not only are you holding yourself accountable, but if you maybe don't stick or follow through with your goals, then it can feel a bit like you failed, which kind of gives the complete opposite vibes of what we're really doing this for. However, instead of keeping a little list of notes on my phone notes app, I thought I would make a video setting out, I think I've got maybe 9 or 10 different goals and aspirations and intentions for 2026 that if I don't achieve them, that's totally fine, but you better bet I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that they come true and that I'm living the kind of life that I want to live. So here goes. I have written them down in my notes app, funnily enough. The first goal and intention, maybe more so, that I've got written down is to reconnect with art. I have always been a creative person. I love art, and that can mean multiple things. It doesn't necessarily mean I like paintings, which I do. At school, I took all of the creative subjects. I went to uni for graphic design, which, albeit at the time, I didn't actually quite know what graphic design was. And I do still think to this day it's quite a hard thing to describe to people who also don't know. Graphic design is like an umbrella and so many things come underneath it. But I clearly loved it enough because that is actually what I do for my full-time 9-to-5 job. I work as a graphic designer for a PR and SEO firm down in the Lake District. So I do still have art all around me. However, when writing this down, what I really had in my head was putting time aside to go to art galleries, to buy and read those art books. Not only that, it also just means continuing on with different crafty projects that I do. I've mentioned already that I love to sew, so continuing on with that, learning more about it and getting more confident in sewing. Also painting and any other little crafty bits that all come under, again, the art umbrella. This year just felt like I really let this part of me slide. So yeah, that is one of my intentions going into 2026, to reconnect with art. Second one is more of like a material thing, but I would really like to, by the end of 2025, own my flat. That is a big goal of mine, to be a homeowner. A pretty simple one, but one that I think if I put it out into the universe, I'm almost speaking it into existence. The third one is to travel more. I do travel a lot already. I feel like I'm here, there, and everywhere every other week. And when I put travel on my list for 2026, I'm not necessarily meaning travel more often, but instead being a little bit more intentional with my travel so it doesn't upset my routine of day-to-day life as much as it did this year, because I did find it quite hard not being home often this year and not having that base. I put one place I want to go to in Scotland, one that I want to go to in Europe, in fact I actually put two, and one place that I want to go to further afield, so a more long haul flight. The one in Scotland was to visit the Ailsa Craig. Now I see this island, I guess you could call it, every single time I go down to visit my parents or come back up. I've seen it my whole childhood, on every trip up to Ayr or Glasgow to go shopping. I see it all the time. This year I was meant to go with my mum, but it all fell through due to the tour companies that were meant to take us and them not being able to boat us over anymore. And it never ended up getting rebooked. So 2026 is the year that I finally go to the Ailsa Craig. It might seem a bit of a random one, but there's a few fun facts about that place that just really interest me, and I think it would be really cool to go over and see something that I have passed countless times. Now, for Europe, the two places on my list, I've had them on there forever, And this isn't to say that I don't go to other places, but these two would really be high up on my Europe list. First up, we've got Porto, where I can just imagine myself sipping on port, eating pastel de natas, having chicken and fries for dinner and all the seafood imaginable. I have wanted to go here for a while, so definitely up there. And I also really loved Lisbon when I visited. I've been there a couple of times now. So I just think Porto and me will get on like a house on fire. The second one is Vienna, which is a very arty city, which are the cities I tend to gravitate more towards. And okay, stop asking. If I had to pick a third, it would probably be Eindhoven in the Netherlands, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the design capital of the Netherlands. So again, another match made in heaven. The last one, which is further afield, has been on the top of my to-go list for as long as I can remember, and that is to go to South Korea. There's so many things that interest me about that country, so I don't have a specific city that I'd want to go to. However, just going, exploring the place, seeing all the fashion, eating all the food, of course. I think I don't even need to explain why that is my top spot. It just looks like it would be an epic trip. Another goal that's a little bit more materialistic, but I've actually had it on my to-do little list at home for God knows how long, I think over 2 years now. And for some reason, it's one of these things that I keep putting off and off and off. And that is just to create like a full comprehensive guide of eating in Edinburgh. It was originally going to be Scotland, but that is just way too much and I don't have the time on my hands for that. So I'm being more realistic and I'm going to do a full Edinburgh guide. This is for the people who come to me constantly asking for questions on where to eat, where should I go, what are the best places for this kind of food, so and so. Whether that's friends, family, or people on social media that reach out, this guide is going to be the one thing that I finish, and anytime anyone asks, here's the guide, here's the guide, here's the guide, take a look in the guide, then everyone can always have good meals always, because what more do we want? I don't want to be spending my money on bad food, and neither do you. So that is high up on my goal. And if I had to put a number on things, once I finish it, depending on when that is, I would love to sell at least 50, putting it out there now. That's actually quite a good segue for my next one, and that is that I'm not a walking ad, so I don't want to act like it in 2026. I get so many brands coming to my inbox asking to work with me to promote certain menus, certain products, so and so. And I do think I'm quite good at only picking the ones that really do resonate with me or that I use already or that I love. However, I think I've only really gotten better at that over the past year or two. So I want to continue making sure that any paid work I do take on really is me to my core, because I don't want to be doing work for products and services that I don't fully love. It's kind of just keeping everything in line with this whole mindset I'm going into 2026 with, is that I want to slow down and share more of me in my day-to-day life instead of spending my life at 50 million miles an hour constantly promoting things and sharing what's new and things that, quite frankly, I am very privileged to get to share or get to receive these products, but it's just not me. And I think it's partially the reason why I've not really been posting on my socials as much as I usually would do in the past few years, because I just find it all very overwhelming. So if that is overwhelming for me as a creator, then I can only imagine what it's like viewing it all as a consumer. So no more walking ads in 2026. The next one, also a good segue because I just mentioned walking. Next year, I want to make sure that I am walking more, getting my body moving more, relying less on public transport and Ubers, being more on time, that whole sort of thing. I don't really have like a perfect little sentence to describe what I mean, but I just want to get walking and moving more, which I think is quite a nice one. For number 7, I think it's number 7, I've not really been counting. There is this photo trail that I've wanted to do in Edinburgh for honestly not that long, if I'm being totally honest. I saw it on a girl called Sana's TikTok maybe earlier this year, and I just fell in love with the idea of it. And it's basically this 1993 Fujifilm Edinburgh film guide. I think I got that right. The gist of it basically is all across Edinburgh are these little plaques on the floor, and you can go around and do like a full trail. And when you find these plaques, you stand on them, and the idea is that you take out your camera and that is the perfect picture to capture the city. One that's very achievable. I could go and do it tomorrow if I really, really wanted. But either way, I'm putting it on the list. It might give you some inspiration if you're a budding photographer, or you just really love Edinburgh, or you want something to do with the kids. It could really suit so many people, and I think it's a lovely one. Number 8 is actually a goal and intention that I put on my list last year, but I'm carrying it forward to 2026, and that is to read more and spend a little less time on my screens. With my jobs, which are being a graphic designer and a content creator, naturally I spend an awful lot of time on my phone and my laptop. So last year I set myself the goal of reading 7 books. I absolutely smashed it. I think I managed around 13, which I was super chuffed with. Probably 12 and a half, because one of them kind of overlapped 2024 to 2025. So next year I want to set the bar higher, and I've actually not picked a number, so I'm going to do it right now. And I'm going to say I would like to read 18 books. Hopefully that is achievable. If I put my mind to it, I'm sure it is, and it will be lovely spending a bit more time off screens, even though my books are technically on a Kindle, which I don't think counts. But you get the point. I don't want to spend as much time doom scrolling social media. My second last goal is one for YouTube actually, and I know I've only started posting a bit more regularly in the last 2 weeks. So not a long time at all, I'm sure you can agree. But I'm gonna set myself the goal of hitting at least 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So here's your reminder to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and maybe hit the like button while you're down there. But setting this goal, I think, will just encourage me to keep creating content and posting, hopefully on a weekly basis, because that's what I plan to do. I really want to share these little weekly updates of my life, which are so great for me to look back on. Even the videos that I've caught so far, I've got such lovely moments in there that reflecting back on them while I'm editing or posting, it really makes me happy to see that they're on camera and I can cherish them forever. And on top of that, you'll also get random little videos like this one, dotted here, there and everywhere, just when I take a notion to sit down and yap to the camera. We're almost at the end, we're on the last goal. I tossed up putting passing my driving test in there, but I've actually decided to leave it out because, quite frankly, driving a car and being in a car makes me so anxious. I just know that it's not going to happen because I don't feel ready yet. I'm not quite there. And I know the older I get, the worse it's getting. But instead, I've opted to put down a goal of going part-time at my work so that I can focus a bit more on content creation and maybe making this a bit more of a career. In the past, I've never really thought of social media as a job. Not in general, but just for myself. I've always seen it as a bit more of a hobby, but it would be so lovely to get to spend more time actually creating and not having to juggle it around a full-time job. I really do love having a career as a graphic designer. The reason I say part-time is, one, because I do actually love my job. I love what I do. I can't see myself ever not working as a graphic designer or doing some form of design. It's also very settling to know that I've got a pension and that I'm not self-employed and I've got guaranteed money coming in every month to pay the rent. So I guess we'll see if we make it there by the end of 2026. It still feels so surreal to say 2026. It doesn't sound quite right just yet. It usually takes a little while for me to settle into the year and remember what day, month, year it is. But yeah, those are my goals, intentions, aspirations for the year ahead. I would love to know yours below. And let's make 2026 a great year, hopefully better than this one. It has been a real roller coaster 2025, and I'm low-key happy to see the end of it, even though there's been some absolutely insane, incredible moments. Have a lovely new year when it comes. Bye! Also, I'm aware I am sat on the kitchen worktop, but it's the only place with light, so we work with what we've got.